Kash Patel was answering some questions because now, after that discharge petition has been signed and Donald Trump has signed on to it as well, there's a deadline here. Let's see if Kash is on the deadline.
The Epstein Files Transparency Act has a very tight deadline, 30 days to produce unclassified records. Will the FBI meet the 30-day deadline?
Well, we are working with our partners at the Department of Justice to produce, as we've always committed to producing, what we can lawfully, legally produce. And we will continue to meet those metrics, reminding the public that there are court orders in place, protective orders, and orders to seal in place that legally prohibit the disclosure of information related to any investigation when there's a court order of that fashion. So we're working with DOJ to say if we can produce anything more.
President Trump told your boss, Attorney General Pam Bondi, to look into the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Democrats, including former President Bill Clinton. Is the probe limited to Democrats, or will you follow the facts wherever they lead?
We'll just follow the facts. It's pretty simple for this FBI.
It would be pretty simple for this FBI to just follow the facts, but the problem is that he didn't really point out, maybe she should have asked him, because he doesn't have to volunteer this next information, why Donald Trump then said he'll only go after his political Democratic enemies that he figures he can get busted and then claim that that's all that he has to deal with. They really won't be going after everything. They're going to try and find many ways as possible to dodge this new responsibility that Donald Trump said he's all about being a part of. But this is the main crux of this whole thing. Here's the second question that was asked of Kash Patel here.
So more charges are possible in the Epstein case?
Based on the new referral, we'll take a look at that and see what evidence comes. But there's an important distinction. The information that the government possesses versus the information that the Epstein estate possesses. Those are two separate boxes of information. And the Epstein estate has not been willing to share information with the U.S. government. And so even though we've requested them to do so.
The FBI has requested info from the Epstein estate about the guy who has run the largest child sex trafficking ring that we've known of. And they just won't give it to him. And Kash Patel doesn't know what that information is, but they've requested it. Don't forget, some of the things that came out of the Epstein estate, first of all, was this last treasure trove of emails that exposed a lot more things than what Donald Trump and the rest of this administration wanted exposed. It's why they've been spiraling and spinning and distracting and trying to talk about anything else. But it's weird that the FBI can't get the information about this guy that they arrested, convicted, put in prison, and who died then in prison by his own destruction. Why can't they get the information? I don't run the FBI. Maybe there's this Epstein estate has some kind of power of the FBI and they don't have to give that information. But I do know it's something that is rattling this administration, specifically Donald Trump, because there's information apparently with the Epstein estate that they really don't know about. I'm going to replay for you guys what Representative Melanie Stansbury said about some of that information that she did see.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I actually went through the files this weekend in depth. Donald Trump is not only named over and over in them, it is discussed this trial in which he was accused of raping a 13-year-old at Epstein's house. There is extensive discussions about a subpoena of Donald Trump in one of Jeffrey Epstein's cases in which he was accused for rape and sexual abuse. He was subpoenaed and gave a deposition in that case. There is extensive discussion between Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Mr. Wolf about not only Trump coming to his house, but Epstein says in these emails that he has photographs of Trump with girls.
That was some of the stuff that Melanie Stansbury said that she's seen. Let me read some things to you guys, and trigger warning or just disgust warning, or maybe you just don't want to hear graphic details of accusations of rape, of assault of young girls, specifically just this one in this case. This has been public information. It's stuff that has been seen and discussed before, and then it just kind of fades away. It's been years of it. I got to read a couple of these instances from these redacted declarations from alleged victims that are part of the 20,000 subpoenaed Epstein estate files. This woman says, I was hired and paid directly by Mr. Epstein from the years of 1991 to 2000 to attract adolescent women to attend these parties, most of which were held at what is known as the Weimer Mansion, and it has a location in New York City. down to the number 7 point. It was at these series of parties that I personally witnessed the plaintiff being forced. At the time, the person said they were 13 years old, being forced to perform various sexual acts with Donald J. Trump and Mr. Epstein. Both Mr. Trump and Mr. Epstein were advised that she was 13 years old. I personally witnessed 4 sexual encounters that the plaintiff was forced to have with Mr. Trump during this period, including the 4th of these encounters where Mr. Trump forcibly raped her despite her pleas for him to stop. Sorry, the text is a little bit small. Let me see if I can make it bigger here. There's just a lot of accounts and accusations that people have for what it is that this guy had done. I was subject to extreme sexual and physical abuse by the defendants, including forcible rape that took place at several parties of defendant Epstein during the summer of 1994 in New York City at a residence used by defendant Epstein. During this period, I was 13 years old. So obviously this is now the girl that was assaulted, allegedly. This is her accusations. The parties were held at a New York residence that was being used by defendant Jeffrey Epstein. Each of the parties had other minor females and a number of guests of Mr. Epstein, including defendant Donald Trump, at 4 of the parties I attended. I understood that both Mr. Trump and Mr. Epstein knew that I was 13 years old. Defendant Trump had sexual contact with me at 4 different parties in the summer of 1994. On the 4th and final encounter with defendant Trump told me, tied me to a bed, exposed himself to me, then proceeded to forcibly rape me. During the course of this savage sexual attack, I loudly pleaded with the defendant Trump to stop, but he did not. Defendant Trump responded to my pleas by violently striking me in the face with his open hand and screaming that he would do whatever he wanted. Immediately following this rape, defendant Trump threatened me that were I to ever reveal any of the details of defendant Trump's sexual and physical abuse of me, my family, and I would be physically harmed, if not killed. Last document. I'm sorry I'm reading it like this. It's really small text and it's kind of far from me. So bear with me. I'm sorry. This is the last one. So this is back to the person who witnessed it. I personally witnessed the one occasion where Mr. Trump forced the plaintiff and a 12-year-old female named blanked out perform oral sex on Mr. Trump and witnessed his physical abuse of both minors when they finished the act. I personally witnessed or was made immediately aware of the 2 occasions where my boss, Mr. Epstein, attempted to rape and sodomize the plaintiff. I personally witnessed Mr. Epstein sexually and physically abusive to other minor females, even younger than her. Down on number 14, I personally witnessed defendant Trump telling the plaintiff that that he shouldn't ever say anything if she didn't want to disappear like the 12-year-old female Maria, and that he was capable of having her whole family killed. Lastly, here, after leaving the employment of Mr. Epstein in the year 2000, I was personally threatened by Mr. Epstein that I would be killed and my family killed as well if I ever disclosed any of the physical and sexual abuse of minor females that I had personally witnessed by Mr. Epstein and any of his guests. That's the stuff that, as I've read through some of those, people say, I remember hearing about this. I remember hearing about a 13-year-old girl. I remember hearing about this, that, and the third. And then those folks kind of fade back away from the spotlight because, as they allege, and some folks around them allege, they get threatened. I just want to point out some of the things that Melanie Stansbury said that she saw. I want to also connect that to the fact that Kash Patel is still dancing around the release of this situation and say that he's going to only go after certain people or release it all. And also the fact that they don't have connections or they don't have access to the things in the Epstein estate, which apparently that was a part of. I don't know. I feel like the FBI would have had that information and then hide it.